We have some awesome news about the upcoming Cole Caufield contract extension, as team owner Geoff Molson said that the contract extension can happen any day and will happen this offseason. Plus, we're going to talk a bit about Stephane Leroux from RDS and him saying that the Habs will not be picking Michkov even if he's available at number 5. So we'll be talking about all of this on this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's news edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, alongside my co-host, Jesse Poirier, and a quick reminder to hit subscribe. We're pushing for 6,000, that's the next thing, but really we want to hit that 10,000 goal at some point. That's far away down the line, I know, but if you guys haven't hit that button yet, and you like our content, hit it. There's going to be tons of content, and another quick reminder before we get into the video, we plan to be live streaming the draft lottery on May 8th. We'll schedule that on the YouTube channel so you guys can go bookmark it, be ready for it when it comes, but we're going to watch along with you guys. We hope you guys will enjoy it, so yeah, make sure you're tuned in for that. Jesse, first thing today, Geoff Molson says a Caufield extension could happen any day. N'importe quand, he said. But to go a bit further in the quote, I'll do a bit of translation here. Ça peut se passer n'importe quand, can happen anytime. Je dirais pas de rester près de votre téléphone aujourd'hui. Don't stay by your phone today, but it could be at any moment. And he said, ça va se faire. It will happen before the start of next season. Negotiations are in good hands with Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. Jesse, it doesn't get much better than the owner of the team confirming this kind of thing. I mean, how happy were you to read this news today?
Another great piece of work done by Geoff Molson, who doesn't get enough credit for all the great work he's doing for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm so excited about this, Josh, because we all kind of know it's coming, it's close, but you never kind of want to count your chickens, before they hatch. So just the fact that this is happening, this is huge. We've shown what game-breaking talent this player has. He's shown how good he is with our captain, Nick Suzuki, how he's so important of this young team and just our whole future. It's so much predicated on his shoulders. So I'm just so excited to hopefully lock him up long term.
Yeah, Caufield is, maybe Suzuki's the heart and soul, maybe that's Gallagher, but Caufield is the kind of guy that's going to be your top-end talent going into a potential future championship run. And Jesse, we've heard a lot of rumors. We've seen some stuff about maybe a bridge deal for Caufield. The Habs have stayed fairly quiet. But to me, and I want to get your opinion on this, when you hear the team owner speaking out on something like this and saying something as certain as it will happen before the end of the season, there's got to be a reason he's speaking out on it now. He must be very confident, or maybe Caufield and his agent are very far along in negotiations. What do you think? Could this happen before the draft lottery or sometime just after?
That would be amazing, and like you mentioned, obviously they want to get it done before the season starts. What's so great is that Cole Caufield wants to be a Montreal Canadien. Even when he was injured, he had every excuse to maybe head back to Wisconsin in the States where he's from. But no, he decided to stay around here, be around the team. He loves Montreal. He loves his team so much. So to be honest, it's such a good sign that somebody that just loves our culture, that just wants to be here. So for sure, they're trying to get it done as soon as possible. I think it's going to be really soon. They both want to work together. It's just a couple of the little details to work out now.
Well, speaking of those details, Jesse, I know a lot of people have spoken about how much will Cole get. We've said here something around 8x8, but I got a few contract comparisons. This has been in a few articles here and there. I've seen this same picture around the internet for the last couple months. Maybe you guys have too, but I'm going to flash it up anyway, where we can kind of discuss some similar contracts at a similar age to what Caufield might get. And it's the most recent one here, of course, Matt Boldy just last year, this year, I guess, signing this extension, 7 years, $7 million per for the Minnesota Wild. And Caufield, I think, even though I'm a huge Boldy fan, Caufield's probably a bit better than Boldy, right? But you look at some of these upper-end contracts, someone like Brady Tkachuk, who was the captain going into that deal, 8.21, someone like Tarasenko and Clayton Keller, Kyle Connor, who brings a lot of the same elements to the table as Cole Caufield with his elite goal scoring. When I'm looking at this list, Jesse, and I know you're looking at it too, the length of the deal, the AAV, I think our overall prediction of 8 years, $8 million is not too far out of the question, right? To me, that seems fairly team-friendly for Montreal, and when you look at this list here, how many of those guys can you say have bad contracts? So to me, something around 8x8, maybe a bit above, maybe a bit below, would be pretty ideal.
It's totally what he deserves, and I hope that we do get the long-term contract. I feel like Cole Caufield, he's kind of good either way. He'd get more money by doing the bridge deal, I feel, by just kind of betting on himself, because I feel over the next couple of years, that's when he's really going to come into his own. He's really going to light it up, but that's not what Cole wants to do. Cole wants what's best for the Montreal Canadiens, I feel, but he also knows that playing with Nick Suzuki is very good for his career. I don't think he takes that chemistry for granted. They ride shotgun together, just an amazing duo. So it'd be really nice to kind of just get him on that long-term deal. If we could maybe do something 7.5 between 8, yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and Caufield, not only is it the right thing to do for the Montreal Canadiens, but you got to think, a guy coming off season-ending shoulder surgery, and while by all accounts he'll be perfectly fine back to easily 100%, if not better, going into next season, if you're him and you're like, man, I can rack up $60+ million tomorrow if I want to, not even have to gamble on himself on a bridge deal in case the shoulder doesn't heal properly or something like that. Taking that guaranteed money seems like a good idea for him, good idea for the Habs, and probably a good idea for the future. So we'll let you know as soon as the contract breaks for sure. But yeah, we thought this was a pretty awesome update. And the only other thing we want to talk about in the video today, Jesse, is a bit of Stephane Leroux news. Now, Stephane Leroux is quite connected with the Montreal Canadiens. And, last year and years past, he has leaked Habs draft picks a bit before they've happened in the draft. And here's something he said today. Go watch the video I suggest on the RDS website. But he says, the Canadien pas intéressé par Michkov. In this video, Jesse, it's just a few minutes, he mentions that he would be, quote, stunned, or étonné in French, if the Habs took Michkov, if he was available. He says a lot of teams are really thinking they might pass on Michkov. I mean, I know we're both big Michkov guys. What's kind of your thoughts on this news, and maybe what might be going through Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton's head?
I'm really surprised by this news, especially considering how connected he is, just because it's kind of contrary to what we've been hearing recently. Just with just some intel that was kind of saying, just some news, some rumors, rather that, that Nick Bobrov, one of our head scouting, people, is really big, would be really big on Michkov, right? Yeah. So the fact that would kind of change, I don't know, it was kind of surprising to me all the same. To be honest, Josh, I feel completely opposite than this gentleman in this matter. I feel like not only would they want to pick Michkov, but I feel like there's a good chance that it's not like he's going to stay in Russia forever. There's been such a track record of being able to get players over there. This isn't like a new issue. I think we would even get him before the time that's allotted. I think at least a year before, he'd end up coming over. They'd be able to figure out a deal. We know how good Kent Hughes is at making deals. So, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I mean, even Leroux himself says, guys, in my opinion, Michkov is the second best player in this draft. But that, he's just said, I don't think he's going to get picked second. And with all the recent reports about Will Smith probably going higher than expected, they said that the Habs, if Will Smith is gone and Michkov is still there at number 5, is the Habs might look at someone like Dvorsky, someone maybe even like Gabe Perreault, who originally was not even in the first round in these drafts, has shot up arguably in the top 10. So there's a lot of question marks heading around who Montreal will pick. But Jesse, it sure seems like if Michkov goes before Will Smith in this draft, if he goes in the top 5, it seems like Will Smith is quite highly regarded by Habs management, at least kind of what I got from this video. He didn't say that directly. Let's say Michkov does go before. I mean, let's say they're both available. Let's say someone like Reinbacher or Dvorsky goes before. Do you take Will Smith or do you take Matvei Michkov?
I have to take Matvei Michkov again. I know Will Smith is just looking amazing, but you got to take that game-breaking talent. As I said, it's very rare, and that's just what we need to stress, that you get a chance at these type of players. So you really need to do it. For me, it's not even that much of a gamble. No. He's outscoring Alex Ovechkin right now at the same age in the KHL. This is unheard of. You can't say those words lightly, given Alex Ovechkin's career. And not to mention the other Russian players, amazing Russian players that he's outperforming right now. I think if you have a chance, you have to do it. It's going to take a little bit of time. You have to be patient. But I think Montreal, we're still rebuilding, right? If it still fits our timeline, I think we can still get him still a little bit earlier than expected. So I think it would just work out to be perfect in the end, even though it would be hard.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. And I mean, no matter what, if Montreal, I know they're technically most likely to land at number 6 out of any individual draft position. But if they finish with a top 5 draft pick after the lottery come Monday, I think there's no bad choices. I think Will Smith's amazing. I think Leo Carlsson, of course, Fantilli and Bedard 1 and 2 almost for sure. But Michkov, Carlsson, Will Smith, I was crossing the fingers for Connor. But it's crazy. It's a really deep draft. really excited to see what happens. Make sure you tune in on Monday for our live stream during the draft lottery. Make sure you're there. It's going to be a ton of fun. We can all react in sadness or happiness or maybe neutrality with wherever Montreal lands. But as for right now, that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Help us hit 10K, I guess. I don't know. We got a lot of goals ahead of us. But yeah, we hope you stick along for the ride. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.